Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. As the weather gets colder and the days get shorter and precipitation begins to freeze, as we enter this new winter season, I know we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. It is fast approaching, it'll be upon us soon. So I wanted to bring you guys some of my favorite wintry reads, books set during winter time with like a wintry, not necessarily Christmassy or holiday, but snow day reads, if you will. Snow day reading recommendations, that sort of wintry atmosphere. And I have a whole stack of books to recommend to you, but as I was making this list, as I was planning out what I wanted to say about each book, I realized this is a tag, and I just now realized that I'm not wearing lip gloss or like any sort of lipstick or anything. Pardon me. I also took my glasses off to film this, and I'm not wearing contacts, and I don't know if you can tell by my eyes what my eyes are going to be doing throughout this video. I don't know if you can tell that I can't see. Hopefully you can't. Okay. Yes, this is a tag. I have not seen or heard of anybody else doing a snow day tag on BookTube. I don't know if it exists. I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist, at least within my sphere, my corner of BookTube. So I figured I would put one together because these books, while they do have wintry vibes, they all sort of bring something different to the table in terms of what kind of snow day read they are, I guess. Anyway, let's jump in. So my first prompt is The Frozen Spoon. And I don't know if this is just where I grew up. I don't know if y'all did this, but growing up, we had this tradition, saying, not a saying, but like a belief that if you put a frozen spoon under your pillow, there were other things that went along with it. We wore our pajamas inside out and backwards. We did like a snow dance before going to bed. But if you put a frozen spoon under your pillow and you slept on it, it would snow overnight. And so when the weather forecast called for snow and there was like potential for a snow day, everyone would put a frozen spoon under their pillow. Like you just stick a spoon in the freezer for a few hours. You know, stick it in the freezer when you get home from school. And then it's the apocalypse. The apocalypse is upon us. Why isn't my dog barking? He usually howls along with that because he thinks it's another dog. What is wrong with me? No, it's okay, I'll wait. Thank you. Where was I? Yes, I was explaining the frozen spoon. You stick a spoon in the freezer when you get home from school, and you leave it there until you go to bed. And then you pull it out and it's frozen, and you stick it under your pillow and you sleep like that. And we thought that that would make it snow, but you know what? Very rarely did it not snow when we did that. So I'm not saying there's a causation there. Anyway, if you're doing this tag and you did not do the frozen spoon thing to make it snow, I know you did something. We all did something to make it snow when we heard that there was potential. So you can just replace that with whatever tradition you had for snow days to make it snow. And the question is, what is a book that you feel the need to return to every winter on like a tradition basis? And for me, it's Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is my first copy of Little Women. I actually have 3. I have this one, I have a mass market paperback, and then I have a very, very old vintage one that had belonged to my great-grandmother. Or my great-great-grandmother? Great-grandmother. It was given to my great-grandmother when she was a child. So, little heirloom book. I was really excited when I stumbled upon that. Anyway, Little Women, Louisa May Alcott. This is a classic. This follows the 4 March sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. And it spans many years, so we do get springtime, summertime, fall time vibes, but the whole book, the whole story kicks off at Christmas time. So within the first few pages, you are already fully immersed in this winter wonderland, New England Christmas atmosphere. And so I think that is why this is something that I am so drawn to at this time of year. Definitely a staple snow day read for me. Prompt number 2 is The Blizzard. What is a book that could carry you through a blizzard? A book that has the same sort of atmospheric vibe as, I don't know, howling winter wind, lots of snow, you know, not maybe like the darker side of a snow day. And for me, that's Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. This is one of Agatha Christie's many mysteries. It's a Hercule Poirot mystery, and it's one of her, I don't want to say it's one of her more well-known books because there are so many of them, but it is. It's one of her more well-known books. It's been adapted for film how many times? At least twice. Murder. Okay, 1974. 2017. Also a television series in 2001 and a television special in 2010. Murder on the Orient Express follows a cast of characters, a set of passengers on a train, the Orient Express, which I think runs from like Paris to Istanbul. But this train is traveling through this very cold, snowy, wintry landscape, and one morning these passengers wake up to discover that somebody in the sleeper car in his room all by himself has been murdered. And according to Poirot, the detective who happens to be aboard the train, based on what he knows of this murder victim, every other person in the sleeper car had motive to be the killer. So in these very close quarters on this train where nobody could have just like snuck in and gotten out in the dead of night because it's a moving train, he conducts an investigation wherein everyone is a suspect and no one, not even the victim, is innocent. I love Agatha Christie. Wow, what a lady. Prompt number 3 is Snowed In. What is a book that you have yet to finish that just makes you want to curl up, hunker down, and read the day away until you're done with the book? And for me, that's The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I am actually, as of right now, as I'm filming this, I have not started this one yet. This is part of my TBR for the Gilmore Girls readathon, which, if you're seeing this video on time, is happening now, currently. So if you're seeing this, if this video is up when it's supposed to be, I will probably have started this one already, but not finished, but who knows, maybe I will have finished it. But as of right now, as I'm filming, I have not finished this one yet. I haven't even started it yet, but I'm so excited for it. I mean, just look at that cover. Is that cover, I'm worried that it's going to be too shiny because it's a library copy and it's got the plastic, but look at the cover. Does this not give you Snowed In vibes? This book follows a girl named Vasilisa who lives all the way out in the Russian wilderness, you know, at the edge of a forest, and she has been raised her whole life to respect and honor the spirits of the house and the garden and the forest. But when her father gets remarried to a city woman who is super devout in her own religion, she sort of brings this new religion into Vasilisa's home and represses the old a little bit and does not allow Vasilisa and her siblings to honor their spirits in the same way that they used to, and bad things start to happen. This is heavily inspired by Russian folklore. I think the Baba Yaga story or lore around Baba Yaga is also incorporated into The Bear and the Nightingale. So I'm really excited to read this. I wish it would snow, you know? I wish it would snow because I think that would just set the stage so perfectly for this book. Prompt number 5 is hot cocoa. I mean, this isn't cocoa. This is coffee because it is morning yet, and I'm still trying to caffeinate myself enough to actually get through this video. So this is coffee, but can't you just picture some like really decadent hot chocolate, dark chocolate with maybe like a toasted marshmallow and some cinnamon and chocolate shavings and ooh, maybe some caramel in this mug? It's perfect. Anyway, hot chocolate. Hot chocolate is just a sweet, cozy, nostalgic winter beverage. So what better to go with it than a sweet, cozy, nostalgic winter read? And for me, that book is Green Glass House by Kate Milford. Now this one is actually a middle grade, so while it's not something that I read as a kid, it is very reminiscent of some of my favorite middle grades that I grew up reading. The sense of adventure and mystery. This book follows Milo, who is, I think he's like 10 or 11 years old, and he lives in an inn which his parents run called Green Glass House. But this isn't just a normal inn, this is a smuggler's inn. Green Glass House is a well-known safe house for smugglers, criminals, thieves to all come and stay while they're going about their lives and traveling around doing their thievery. Be gay, do crime. And year after year, business slows down a bit during the holiday season, so Milo gets roughly 2 weeks of Christmas vacation or of winter vacation with the whole house and his parents all to himself, and he's really looking forward to that. But on the first day of winter vacation, a mysterious stranger shows up to stay at the inn, and then another, and then two more, and then another, and suddenly the house is full of strangers and thieves. On top of the strangeness of having 5 new guests that they've never met before in the house at their slowest part of the year, it seems that all 5 of these strangers are also confused about the others being there. They all thought they were going to have the house to themselves. And when things start disappearing, Milo takes it upon himself to sort of solve the mystery of why all of these strangers showed up at the same time at this particular time, and in doing so starts to uncover some secrets about Green Glass House and about himself. As I said, this book is just full of adventure and mystery, and the characters are also vibrant. It really has all of my favorite aspects of a middle grade fantasy. Honestly, I think it would be perfect for like a Netflix adaptation, like a TV show or a miniseries of some kind. Netflix, find Kate Milford, buy the rights to Green Glass House. Did I say that was prompt 5? Where am I? I think I skipped a number, but not a prompt. I'm gonna stop saying numbers. The next prompt is the Sledding Hill. I don't know about y'all, but when I was a kid, we went sledding every single snow day. There is a sledding hill about a 5-minute walk from my house, and we were there constantly. So to go along with the sledding hill, what is a fast-paced, exciting winter read? And for me, that's A Winter's Promise by Christelle Devil. Basically everything I just said about why I love the Green Glass House also applies to this book, but at a slightly older age point. This is more YA, Green Glass House is more middle grade. So if you love Green Glass House but you're looking for something maybe for like a slightly older age group, this one. This takes place in a world that exists after our world has been completely destroyed, but it's not post-apocalyptic. It's more like our world has been physically shattered and is now a series of smaller planets, or what's known as arcs. Our main character Ophelia is from the arc Anima, where inanimate objects are not always so inanimate, and she is known as an exceptional reader, meaning not that she reads books really well or reads a lot of them, but that through physical contact with objects she can read that object's history and the histories of the people who came into contact with it. She also has an extra special power of being able to travel through mirrors. The book kicks off with Ophelia realizing or finding out that she has been betrothed to a man from a completely different arc and is being shipped off there to marry him. His name is Mr. Thorne, and he is from the arc known as the Pole. And as you can imagine, the Pole is a very wintry, harsh, barren, tundra-esque landscape, basically Siberia. And the people there are known as being ruthless, cutthroat, and just as unforgiving as the landscape in which they live. When Ophelia arrives, she realizes there may be more to her engagement than just her parents trying to marry her off. And she ends up becoming entwined in court politics, secrets and mysteries, and she realizes she is a pawn in a scheme that could very well affect not only herself, not only the Pole, but her entire world. It also has the most Darcy and Lizzie romantic subplot that I have seen since Pride and Prejudice. If you're into that, which, like, why wouldn't you be? Why? If you're not into that, are you okay? If you're not into that, are you okay? If you're into that, read this book. If you're into vibrant characters and mystery and espionage and intrigue, read this book. If you think Harry Potter would have been better if it was written from Hermione's perspective, read this book. I have a whole video that I will link above and below for you guys just talking about this book and how much I love this book. Apparently 1 battery is just not enough anymore. 1 battery never lasts a full video. I always have to change my battery. I apologize for any angle shift, zoom shift. I don't think there's a zoom shift. I think it's good. It's fine. It's good. Also, I just realized that the top of my head has been cut off for the majority of this video, but we're gonna stick with it for continuity's sake. The next prompt is snow walks. When I was in high school and college and didn't necessarily want to spend an entire day on the sledding hill, but did want to spend the day with my friends during a snow day, we very often would just go for long walks in the snow. And those were some of my favorite snowy memories, is just walking with my friends snow walks, shared time in the snow. So for the snow walked prompt, I would love for you to share a book that you just want everyone to read that gives you cozy winter vibes. Just like, what's a book that you want to share with the world? I have two, and I'm gonna be honest, neither one of them is set, well, one of them might be set during winter, I don't actually know. One of them spans a number of years, so while there is winter involved, there's also spring and like Little Women, but it gives me winter vibes. And that's The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This is one of my favorite books of all time. Cannot express how much I love this book. I make everyone read this book. I pride myself on being able to choose the right book for the right person. I really feel like that is a skill that I have developed over the years. Like, based on your personality, I think you're really gonna love this book. But The Book Thief is one of the few books that I think everyone should read, regardless of what you usually read or even if you don't read at all. It doesn't matter what your personality is, it doesn't matter what kind of book you enjoy. And that's not to say that I think everyone will love this book as much as I do. I just think that everyone should read it. This book follows Liesl Meminger in 1930s, 1940s Nazi Germany. Liesl has been left by her mother with a foster family, or rather, a set of foster parents. There are no foster siblings. It's just Liesl and her foster parents, Hans and Rosa Huberman. And it's just about Liesl growing up and learning the power of words and the power of propaganda through the lens of Nazi Germany. And what's really cool, what sets this book apart, what's really fucking cool about this book is that it's narrated by Death. Who does that? Marcus Zusak does that. This book is narrated by Death. That's metal as hell, and I love it. And Death is not creepy. Death is not like the Grim Reaper. He's not scary. Death is comforting and gentle, sad, nurturing. Can Death be nurturing? I don't know. So I think everyone should read this book. And actually, I know I said I had two for this one, but I think I'm gonna save this second one for a different prompt to be the second for a different prompt. So, and I think that's the next prompt, and it is The Silence of Snow. Did you know that snow absorbs sound? And that's why the world goes so incredibly still and quiet when it snows. So for The Silence of Snow, recommend a book that is just as quiet and gentle as the softly falling snow. And for this one I have two. The first is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. This follows Marin, who has grown up in California but has moved to the East Coast for college. She's a freshman in college in upstate New York, and we know from the very beginning that Marin has cut off everybody from California. She has not spoken to anybody since she moved, and she is in fact staying on campus over winter break. And during those first few days of winter break, she is having the first contact she's had with anybody from back home. Her best friend Mabel is coming to visit her and sort of try to figure out why Marin has up and disappeared, what that means for their relationship, and if she can try to bring Marin home. This book deals a lot with grief and loneliness, and it's very intimate, and once again is set in a very snowy, wintry landscape. I mean, upstate New York in December, yeah, that is isolating. The next book I have for this prompt deals with a lot of the same themes and sort of difficult topics as We Are Okay, and that is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This book, I don't think it specifically takes place in the winter, but it is set in Edinburgh, and it might just be me, but I associate Edinburgh with winter because the one time I went there it was Christmas time. Follows Eleanor Oliphant, who, as you may have guessed from the title, is completely fine, or at least thinks that she is. She goes to work, she goes home, she eats the same food every day, drinks her vodka on the weekends, and really doesn't interact with anybody. She talks to coworkers when she has to, and she's really quite an oddball. She's very particular about the way things are done and the way that she does things. She's a little bit judgmental when other people don't do things the same way as her. And over the course of a few weeks, she meets some people and has some interactions that sort of force her to get out of herself, if only for propriety's sake. And being a very proper person, she pushes through that force, but in getting to know these new people that she's interacting with, she is also now forced to confront her past and her own traumas, and she realizes that she is very much not completely fine. I will say there are lots of trigger warnings for this book. It is not like The Book Thief in that everyone should read it. There are some people who probably shouldn't because it does deal with a lot of heavy topics. There's drug abuse, attempted suicide, parental abuse, or child abuse by a parent, assault, sexual abuse. There's a lot to unpack in this book, but I do find it reminiscent of The Silence of Snow. It deals with that emotional silence and isolation. And the last prompt is a hot toddy. Once again, this might just be like personal to me, but it could also apply to you. You could totally change it if you feel the need to. But for me, in my household, in my family growing up, the hot toddy was kind of like a cure-all, sort of along the same lines as the philosophy that a good cup of tea can fix any problem. Hot toddies fall under the same category as like chicken soup. You're sad? Have a hot toddy. Sore throat? Have a hot toddy. Head cold? Have a hot toddy. That is my cure-all. If you have a different cure-all, you can use that for this prompt. But the book recommendation I'm looking for is a book that you feel could cure your sniffles after a day out in the cold, either walking through the snow or on the sledding hill or having a snowball fight, whatever it is. If you've come in from the cold and have the sniffles, what is a book that could cure that? And for me, it's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I do love me some children's classics, let me tell ya. This book follows the 4 Pevensey children, Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. They have been sent away from London during the bombings of World War II to go live in the countryside with an old professor in his big old manor house. And in their wanderings and explorations around the house, they discover a wardrobe that acts as a portal or entrance to a magical land called Narnia. And when they arrive in Narnia, they find, in speaking to the occupants of the land, that for the past 100 years, Narnia has been ruled over by the evil White Witch who makes it always winter and never Christmas. This book is super nostalgic for me. It was one of the first books that was ever read to me. This is one of the first books I ever owned. Literally as a baby, as an infant who didn't know what a book was. I have known this story for about as long as I've known my name. So it's really nostalgic. It's very much a comfort read, and it has all of those cozy wintry vibes. Plus, this copy's illustrated. I know I've talked about it before. I know I've shown you these pictures, but how gorgeous. Look at that. Winter vibes. Pevensy's marching through the snow. This is the book. This is the book. So those are the prompts. There's 8 of them. 8 prompts. I talked about 9 books, but yes, 8 prompts. And I will totally put them down in the description so that you can check them out. If you want to do this tag, please link me your video. If you film this tag, I would love to see it. I am gonna tag a few people. Who should I tag? I didn't think this far ahead. I'm gonna tag Liv of Life with Liv, whose channel just gives off the coziest, chillest of vibes. Delancey of Reading BRB, who every once in a while will do like a themed vlog, themed reading vlog, or themed book recommendation video, and I would just love to hear her wintertime book recommendations. I feel like I tag Lexi every time I do a tag video, so Lexi, I apologize, but I also feel like she would just adore this tag. I feel like she would love this. Snow days are totally up Lexi's alley, so Alexandra Roslin, and I think also Soleil of Little Reader's Corner would enjoy this. Soleil, if you didn't know, created the Cozy Little Readathon, which was a weekend readathon that we did last year, and I'm hoping she puts together a second installment, a second round of the Cozy Little Readathon for this December, because it was just so much fun. It was so chill and cozy, and I think in preparation for that she would enjoy a snow day book tag. And of course, anyone else who wants to participate, if you want to take part in this tag, please do. Please link it down below in the comments so that I can check it out when you've done it. I would love to see and hear about your winter reading recommendations. And even though it's not quite snowy season yet, I am so excited for this year's snow days. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the little bell so you can see more of my content every time I post. Feel free to chat to me in the comments or over on social media. All of my links are down below, and I will catch y'all on the flip side. Peace out, Brussels sprouts.